welcome to another episode where we've got an amazing guest speaker, Tesni Kendall, and she's going to be talking to us today about quality over quantity, which I'm really excited about because actually this can come into a lot of aspects of business. But before we get into this conversation, would you like to say hi and introduce yourself?
Yeah, hi, and thanks for having me, Dani. It's really exciting to be here. So I'm Tesni at Acer Media, and I help passionate small business owners to really make the most out of social media. And that can be either working alongside them on an ongoing basis, or it can be that they need me to come in and get that dreaded job off their to-do list, or to make sure everything runs smoothly while they go away, or pretty much anything to do with social media.
Brilliant. It's such an important, big part of online businesses, especially these days, and it is social media. And when we do that, we're becoming content creators. And there was a massive realization that I came across last year working with one of my business coaches. We were in a group session, and it just dawned on us all that we weren't just business owners, we were content creators with a business, obviously all of us different businesses. And it's like, okay, so that is what we've become now in this day and age. And part of that is about quality, isn't it? And there's quality in different aspects: the content we create on social media, the leads we generate on social media or using social media. So oh, we just lost you there for a second. Oh, we're back. Sorry, we just lost her. So with that, what would you say is really important to think about when it's approaching using social media for your business and thinking about quality over quantity?
Well, I think that one of the big questions that people come and ask me is, I'm not seeing the engagement, and yet I'm posting 3 times a week or whatever they've been advised to do, and they're not getting that level of engagement. But actually, what happens if you try to post, let's say, twice a week for a month? Does your engagement actually go up? Because a lot of time we're trying to create so much that all of our content isn't providing enough value, isn't easy content to be engaging with. And you're kind of just talking to the void without making it easy to start a conversation on that.
Yeah, that's so true. And I feel like when people come into business, to see people like me who are doing what we see as everything, many different types of content, which I do. I do loads. And in fact, I've just like brainstormed my strategy, and there's about 10 different types of content in general that I do. However, I always stress that I've done this for 10 years, so I can aim for quantity, whereas in the beginning, quality needs to take the lead, doesn't it?
Yeah, definitely. And it's also like as you say, like you're on like loads of different places, but actually if you're talking to people everywhere, you're not actually giving them enough of yourself to be able to get to know you and to know what your business is really about.
That's so true, because we spread ourselves too thin. The more platforms we use, the more content we try to put out there. And I would say over time, yeah, do increase it. But like when you're in a position to outsource, that's when it can become a little easier. But not everybody's at that stage. So we've got to come at it with the aspect of we need to produce good quality content, but also good quality platforms that we're building pages on our social media and content and leads, the good quality leads that we're generating in is so important. What would be your biggest advice for anyone who's maybe just getting started or feels a bit overwhelmed with the whole idea of social media for their business and everything that comes with it?
I think if you're just getting started and you're not even set up properly on social media yet, the biggest question is, what platforms are you going to use? So partly, what kind of content are you most comfortable creating.
Mm.
Because if you're more comfortable creating videos, then that's going to be a different platform than if you're more comfortable writing or having photos. And then also really try to think about who your target audience is. And that's not necessarily the same as your ideal client,
Mm.
because if they're your ideal client, they already know that they want to work with you. But your target audience, your job is to explain to them why they need you and why they could benefit from becoming a client.
Yeah, because they don't understand, because this is why they are a target, aren't they? Because you are targeting them with what you do with your social media efforts. What do you find has been the biggest challenge you see in business owners when it comes to making sure that we focus on this quality aspect?
Um, I think that it's a good question, but I'd say probably that social media, there's a lot of trends,
Mm,
and you feel like you have to jump on every trend, and actually you don't. If that trend doesn't align with what you're trying to create, then it's best to ignore it. Um, and like, yeah, you can get ideas from it, but actually you want to be yourself on there.
yeah, that is so true. I mean, I've experienced this today actually. So we're recording this at the time it's Halloween. This podcast will go out later than that, but at this moment in time it's Halloween, and everybody on social media this morning I have seen doing these Halloween themed, and I'm like actually judging myself. Oh, why didn't I think of that? And it's to the point it made me think, shall I go and create something Halloween themed? But then I thought, well, no, because then that's going to detract me from my focus and where my energy is going today, and it's not something I should do just because it's trending and everybody's doing it right now. And it's interesting because I never jump on Friends. I don't know why. I just don't. I like to create my own things and be creative with that. But this, I did have this moment today where I'm like, should I be posting about Halloween? And it is fun, and I guess that is the fun aspect of seeing other people do it. But we've got to be authentically ourselves as well, don't we? When we're producing good quality content and social media pages. What do you find are the biggest challenges when people are trying to get started with connecting with people on social media? So, like, they're wanting to generate leads and sell. And when it comes to doing that, what do you find is quite challenging for the most people that you work with?
Um, Probably the understanding how to actively engage,
Yeah,
because social media is sort of the obvious side of that is you need to be creating content, but it is also a two-way conversation. And if you like, also you're waiting for people to comment on your posts, but you also need to go and be engaging on other people's posts.
that's so true. And there's actually, I hear this a lot myself. Like, I've done what you said, and I'm implementing this, or I just don't have engagement. And I think sometimes people focus on that maybe a little too much, like almost like engagement becomes a vanity metric that we measure, and we believe that good quality content has engagement. But actually, it's interesting that I love watching and I love seeing how some six-figure business owners, for example, run their business. And my own mentor herself runs a six-figure business, but she doesn't have a lot of engagement. And seeing that and realizing that we don't have to go viral almost to be a successful business owner is kind of inspiring, actually, because then I feel the pressure is kind of off. And I wish that other people would kind of tap into and step into that mindset as well. Do you agree?
Yeah, definitely. Well, that's actually one of the reasons why um, I don't have Instagram for my business, which a lot of people kind of get confused by that, because Instagram is a very big platform, and it's actually the platform that I work most often with when it comes to
Yeah.
working with my clients. Um, but for me, if people are on Instagram and using Instagram, then they're unlikely to find my posts if unless they're kind of already past the point that I like working with businesses.
Yeah, and that just shows how much you know the type of client that you are targeting. It's so you know your target market, like you said earlier, about choosing the platform that well you enjoy creating on, but also that has your target market on there. So that really kind of plays into that you shared, which is really cool. What platforms do you find you enjoy then?
Um, for me, I really like Facebook.
Mm.
Which is interesting because when I first set up my business, I first set up a Twitter and LinkedIn.
Yeah.
Um, and Twitter was my main platform.
Huh?
But then now I no longer use it. So now Facebook is becoming my main platform, even though my LinkedIn is actually a bigger platform because I've had it for more and I've got more followers on there. Um, and I've also got like my blog goes out on there as a newsletter as well.
Oh
Um,
yeah.
but yeah, I really like the how there's a lot of different stuff on Facebook, so you can really focus on the type of thing that you enjoy creating.
Yeah, I agree with that. I mean I do use Instagram and I do actually love Instagram, but more so for I feel more comfortable absorbing information on there, whereas on Facebook, I feel more of a I don't know because I do use both, but I feel more of a creator on there, and I feel it's easier for me as well. So I see where you're coming from on that. Like there is so many elements to it that we can use, and I find it so easy. And I bet some people will disagree. I know we do get some people who get frustrated at Facebook instead of all platforms because it does have its glitches, but so does any system usually that we use, and we get to use it for free. If we wanted to create good quality content and generate some good quality leads, target market, and reach those for our business, what would be your advice to someone that feels like that's the type of strategy that they need to start implementing?
Um, Figure out what your the one thing that makes you different,
Yeah.
and really try to focus in on that. And also pay attention to what people ask you.
Oh yeah, makes such a difference. Listening is such an important skill as well. And that brings me to ask as well, actually. Let's share what makes us different. What makes you different in what you do with your business?
Um, I I work a lot with the very small businesses, the micro businesses, the people who don't really know what they're doing on social media, don't really have the time, and to be honest, don't really have the budget to work with a social media expert, which is kind of a weird target audience to be working with. But it means that I just have to provide that support in sort of various ways so that the right people can get it however best suits them.
I love that though, because I feel like there is a different target market, and sometimes people just go for the ones that are wanting to outsource or fully hand the reins over and have a bigger budget. But if there's a gap in the market to help the startups and the smaller business, then brilliant, and it's great that you fill that. So in terms of what mine is I'd say it's how personal the experience is. So I see business mentors selling courses to like the thousands and the masses, which is great, don't get me wrong, but that's never something I would want to do just because I feel like from being on courses and stuff myself, I love being delivered that personal aspect where like the host actually knows my name and my family and my lifestyle. And that's the kind of
Yeah.
leader I want to be as well. So that's one of my biggest values, and I guess what makes me unique. But then also the other aspect of it is the understanding that I help people thrive through adversity because that's where I've come from and that's what I've been through with my own family situation. And I feel even though that doesn't actually help someone's business, it helps them run business alongside their life in ways that people need to, because we want to create these good quality businesses coming back into it, like the theme of our talk. We do want that, and it's so important. Is there any tips that you would like to share on quality over quantity?
I think set yourself a goal with like a date to review how it's been. So, like, for example, if you're trying to post a certain amount of posts every week, I'm going to say 3 because that is a commonly used figure for the number of posts to create. So if you try to create 3 posts a week for a month, in a month's time, was it hard? Would you be able to continue providing that much content? And if it was a struggle, next month try and do 2.
Yeah, I love that.
But also, was your audience engaging with that? Or was there some posts that you spent maybe a bit more time on that ended up getting a lot more interactions, a much larger reach, whatever it was? And if you've got those posts that did particularly well because you spent a bit more time on them, then maybe reduce your goal of how many posts you're creating.
Yeah. I know, I bet you get this question a lot. I get this a lot from clients, like, but Dani, how many times should I be posting on social media? And I get it a lot. What would be your answer to that question?
Well, as a general question, it's a very difficult question to answer.
I get it.
Because I tend to turn it back round and ask them, how many are you currently posting?
Yeah.
And then kind of work from there on, okay, do you need to actually focus more on providing that quality and maybe reducing the quantity? Or have you got that quality, and then is it now time to start thinking about increasing the quantity?
I love that. And that's a journey I've been through myself, where I was quite overwhelmed because, like I said, seeing other people posting like every day. So I felt like and some mentors out there will tell you to post every day. I am one of those mentors, but also I will say that only if you feel comfortable with it. And like you say, like, it is a difficult question. I get asked a lot. And it's like, well, there is no generic answer because it's different for everybody, depending on our business and our audience and what we can actually physically commit to. Because, like, the amount of content I post now, I could have not done that when I first started. I wouldn't have had a clue where to start, and it's taken me 10 years to get to this point. So it really is important to be mindful of that, and when it is quality over quantity, and then working, like you say, getting that quality and boosting the quantity that we do. If we do feel ready to boost the quantity of the content that we are putting out there to then get more traction, reach, engagement, all that stuff that we want to get from our social media, what would be your biggest bit of advice when you go from, say, posting 3 times a week to then increasing it just a little bit more?
Give yourself a time frame of, so if you're increasing it, you're not necessarily increasing it forever.
Yeah.
Partly because that can be kind of overwhelming to think like that, but also it might not be the right time yet. So if you give yourself a month or 6 weeks and then review, okay, was it the right time to increase that? And also make sure that you're still providing that quality.
Yeah. I love that, because that's probably not something I would have thought about. Because at least it gives you that time and space to review what you've done, see the results, and like you say, is the quality still there? Which I love.
Yeah.
I do. If someone wants to come and connect with you further and find out about how you can help them with social media, where can we find you?
So you can find me on Facebook, at Ace of Media, or on LinkedIn at Ace of Media again. I'm also on Threads, but I will admit that I have kind of put that to one side recently, so I'm not super active on there at the minute, but I will be increasing that again. But again,
Amazing.
I don't if I don't have the time to provide that quality, there's just no point in trying to be on there.
Yeah, such a good point to make. And you're such a good example of that, how you have your focus platforms, but you aim to increase. And it's like you say, but with quality. I love that. Thank you so much. And my final question to you is, as I get all of my guests to do, what would be your biggest tip for being organized within your business?
Um, for me, what helps me really be organized is it's actually my Google Calendar,
Yeah,
because I can set tasks on there. So I've got my to-do list and my calendar in one place, and I can set like everything, like all the repeating actions, all the repeating tasks, and it reminds me at 9 o'clock every morning what I've got to do that day.
I love that. That's exactly what I do too. It's a godsend for me. Always looking at it, and I love that I can look at it on my phone and on my desktop, and it's just all there. And you know what?
Yeah,
I don't know how my husband copes, because his phone is linked to like the same account of mine, and so he also gets all my daily notifications. Like, this is what she's doing now. This is so, like, it's quite handy actually sometimes, because he's like, "Well, aren't you supposed to be doing this right now?" I'm like, "Yeah, you're right. I am. I'm gonna go." That wasn't intentional. It's just he needed to be logged into my Google at one point, and he just gets it all now. But it's kind of helpful, so he knows what I'm doing, what I'm working on. But yeah, it really is handy, and I do love it as well. And I feel like using that has made a difference to my business, and staying on top of things, like you say, your to-do list, and also the time. You can time block on there, and amazing. I love the color coded aspect of it as well. I color code everything.
yeah,
Thank you so much for joining me today. It's been great to have this chat with you. And do check out Tesni Kendall at Ace of Media, and all her links will be in the show notes. So go and give her a little follow and check out what she's sharing on her socials. We'll see you again soon for another episode.